It tickles me this week to share with you this little tidbit that I have for you. It comes out of my book, 51 Dirty Tricks Bad Guys Really Hate. I'm Larry Kaye with ShadowAnyone.com. I'm the author of that book and some others. Have some private investigator and process server training over there at ShadowAnyone.com. This tickles me for two reasons. One, because I've been sharing a lot recently with you about public records and how to use them and how valuable they are, how they can move you forward when anybody else gets stuck if you know how to use them. And so this week, the story I have to share with you has to do with very effective uses of public records, but also a twist at the end. So here's what it was. A neighborhood had a very high problem with prostitution. There was just a lot of prostitution in the neighborhood. And this is something that you struggle as a community to deal with. If maybe you can get the police to do a sting or more presence, but it's really, really rough. They came up with such a super clever solution to this. What they would do is they would write down the license plate numbers of the Johns that were coming and picking up the girls. And then they had postcards made up that said, warning, the car with, and a blank where they could fill in a license plate number, was seen in a high crime area. Be advised that this is a neighborhood with a lot of prostitution and drug use or whatever else they added to it. And it was at this date and time. They filled in a blank there. Well, this was back when license plate information was public record. You could just go down to the Bureau of Motor Vehicles with like $1.25 in your hand and a license plate number written down on a napkin, slide it across the desk, and they would give you the abstract of the vehicle, the registration information, so who it was registered to and the address. So they would take these tag numbers down to the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, they'd get the details, and they would address it to the registered owner of the car, was the John, and mail it off to that address. Think about how effective this is, because even if the John intercepts the postcard, and maybe even better if he does, he immediately thinks, what if my wife had found this? What if my mom had found this? Other people who live here. Because it has his license plate number, his wife is going to know that's your car, and it's going to have that date and time on there when she knows, wait a minute. You said you worked late that night, or you said you were going out to see with the boys for whatever. So it's very effective deterrent, and they were able to pretty much in short order, because there weren't a ton of Johns in a sense. I mean, there were plenty, but as soon as they get those postcards, they pretty much stop coming back, and they attack the problem from that end. So rather than targeting the prostitutes who have they have addictions. Let's face it, they're on the street because of addiction. They're not going to stop because of another arrest. They need their dope. They're going to be out there turning tricks. It's unfortunate. It's terrible. But trying to battle an addiction is much more difficult than just scaring a guy off because he thinks now it's more likely he'll get caught, or he was caught, or almost his wife found out. What a wonderful solution to this problem. Now, this was such an effective solution that the governor's office actually issued a commendation to this neighborhood and said, good job. This is an excellent model. This is the type of thing we're talking about. You've gotten good results for very little money. Great job, said the governor's office. And then the very next year, the Driver's Privacy Protection Act kicked in, and license plate information was no longer public record. And technically, there was a year or two when you could opt out, but then by 1996, it was completely considered confidential information and no longer public record. The irony is the government says, good job, citizens. This is a great way to handle this problem. Now stop it. Of course, one is the state level, one is the federal level, and of course, these are just local, handling it really at the local level. But the irony is pretty thick, in my opinion. Let me know what you think about this. In the meantime, this is Larry Kaye with ShadowAnyone.com. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.